Hello everybody, welcome to the 51st episode of the Gentleman's Gank podcast. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Dominic.
And I'm Tim.
Alright, and straight into Amiibos.
I thought you said in
Our
between
favorite.
episodes in the 2 days that we've had since we recorded that we weren't going to do that.
That wasn't forced at all.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about, Timothy?
So, let's actually talk about a game first before we go to the Amiibos. Let's talk about one of the new games that they're adding is the Yoshi's Woolly World, which seems to basically just be Kirby's,
Epic Yarn?
yeah, Kirby's Epic Yarn, except Yoshi. So, I mean, it sort of fits in that Yoshi is the same style of gameplay character as Kirby and Yoshi are. But, I mean, it made a little bit more sense with Kirby because you could just redesign Kirby to be anything. And that made sense with Yarn. But yeah, so with that, we get 3 new Amiibos of actual wool Amiibos. Wool Yoshis. So it's really cool.
That actually sounds adorable.
Yeah, it really is. Also, coming with the Mario, or Super Mario Game Maker, or Super Mario Maker, or whatever it's called, we get the, not coming with, but coming out at the same time as, we get the Super Mario Brothers 30th anniversary, and it's a 3D pixelated Mario over a green pipe. And whatever. But when you use it with Super Mario Maker, which you can use Amiibos with it, you can actually reskin your character to be like the Wii Fit Trainer or Legend of Zelda, or yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But with it, you can drop a giant mushroom into your world, and it makes you really large. So it's kind of cool. And then lastly, in terms of Amiibos, we have the 2 Skylander Amiibos.
You mean Skylanders nuts and bolts?
I mean, Skylander's already been doing nuts and bolts for a while. There's Skylander Superchargers, which is Skylanders plus vehicles.
Yeah, but I didn't know about it until now, so.
Oh yeah, it's been going on for several months, right, Pierre? Because you could actually talk about this because it's Skylanders.
Oh, we've lost him.
Yeah, he doesn't trust me.
I can't blame him.
Alright, so, yes, they are adding 2 Skylanders amiibos. So, there's the turbocharged Donkey Kong and the Hammer Slam Bowser. So, Hammer Slam Bowser uses the Clown Cruiser. It's not a blimp, it's a airplane. Yeah, it's kind of lame, but... And the Barrel Blaster is a car thing with a sidecar. It's weird. But whatever, it's Skylanders. But it also has a little switch on the bottom that you can turn and it'll make it an amiibo. So it's kind of weird because, I mean, they didn't design it, Nintendo didn't design it, the Skylanders people designed it. And you know, they were partnering with Nintendo, and Nintendo was like, oh yeah, why don't y'all just, you know, make something new? And they're like, but this is your IP, you don't let anyone do anything with your IP. And they're like, no, we want to see something new. Oh, okay.
Nintendo really is interesting about that. It's like, don't touch our IP, except for you can do that.
Yeah, and like, I was listening to the developers, and they're like, yeah, it was really weird working with it. Reggie was, interviewing one of the lead developers, Reggie Fils-Aimé, and his body was ready.
As someone explained, it will always be that, like, Sony, Microsoft, and everyone else will just reuse terrible memes, and Nintendo will be making memes. That's how E3 goes every year.
Yeah. So, next up, still on the Amiibo thing, is Animal Crossing Party. I mean, Amiibo Festival.
Yeah.
It's basically Mario Party except with amiibos in the Animal Crossing world.
And not as infuriating.
We have yet to see.
It's true, but it looks like I know that like what a game looks isn't necessarily what it is, but it looks way too cute.
Well, yeah, it's Animal Crossing. I think that was their first mistake when they did Mario Party, is that, you know, it's not absolutely adorable. It's only somewhat adorable.
Yeah.
So, yes, it does require players to use amiibos, a single amiibo per player, so everyone has to have an amiibo. But it also comes with 2 amiibos and 3 amiibo cards. So, you know, while it's kind of lame that it comes with, you know, that has to have amiibos, also it's kind of fine because they bring it.
Yeah. I'm usually fine with a game requiring amiibos if it like lets you if it gives you enough to play with at the beginning.
Yeah.
It'd be like a game being like, it's multiplayer, you don't get 2 controllers.
Yeah. Yeah, or like a Xbox 360 that comes with, or I guess it's 1. I'm so far behind.
Did you say
like
Xbox
an Xbox One
360?
Xbox One that comes with a multiplayer only game that only comes with ships with 1 controller.
Yeah.
That's dumb. So moving on, because we have so much to cover, we have the Xenoblade Chronicles X, also 10, for Wii U. Does anyone have anything to say about that?
I don't even
bet
know what
Pierre
it
does.
is.
I've never owned a console, so I know nothing about Xenoblade.
Okay, moving on. So we're just not going to cover that at all. It's killing Pierre. Fire Emblem If is being released as Fire Emblem Fates in the North America, Europe area. Also, we're going to have Mario and Luigi Paper Jam.
Dude, that looks
is the
freaking
new-
awesome.
It really
Dude,
does.
I am so into that. Like, oh my gosh.
It's the next in the Mario RPG series, and specifically Mario and Luigi RPG series.
Dude, the Mario and
based
Luigi
on the
games
same
are
engine.
awesome, and the Paper Mario games are awesome. Like,
Yeah, and this combines them.
I cannot believe I never thought for that to be a thing.
Yeah, so I love it. It shows in the trailer, which you should check out, the the first time they meet each other, Paper Mario and regular Mario, and Paper Peach and regular Peach,
And Paper Bowser.
And of course,
Yes.
they're rescuing Paper Luigi.
yeah,
Oh, is that the... Oh my gosh.
yeah. It's
I can
it's,
only assume that's what it is. I didn't see him anywhere in the trailer.
Oh, that's... I mean, no one cares about Luigi.
yeah.
Alright.
It's no longer the year of
Yep.
Luigi.
Now, I
It's
do
the
have
year
one
of Mario.
question going back to Fire Emblem. Are we just not going to talk about that? I don't even know what
Nope.
that was, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that was Shin Megami Tensei.
Oh, the SMT thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that what this game is?
Fire Emblem Fates?
Yeah.
No, this is Fire Emblem If. The split game, the one that has like fire versus axe versus.
Oh, okay. I thought that was for the same game.
No, Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem is crossover thing
Yeah, I thought...
that Pierre would love to talk about, but he can't.
I mean, I would love for it to be a game, but...
You
Yeah.
guys are saying words, but I still have no idea what the heck I saw.
I don't really know how to explain. And after talking with Pierre beforehand, he doesn't really know how to explain either.
Should we let Pierre talk about
Why
this one?
would we like
No.
the new Metroid Prime game?
No. Yes, Pierre's
Don't talk
Pierre's
about text people can't see. It's rude.
yeah. Pierre's chatting with us right now because he wants to talk but he can't. The newest Metroid game is Metroid Prime Federation Force, and it's
And
getting
it has
a lot of
nothing to do with
hate
Samus.
because it's not dealing with Samus at all. But it still looks like a fairly enjoyable game. I mean, it's just because it doesn't deal with the main character doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad. It just means it's going to be a different take. Like ODST. ODST didn't have John 3117 or John
117.
Yeah. It didn't have, Master Chief. but it was still a fairly enjoyable game.
Well,
It
that's
just-
because it had half the cast of Firefly.
That's true.
But
Hey,
correct
you don't
me if
know
I'm
yet.
wrong. You
Federation
saw
Force.
Treehouse, but Federation Force looked like a bunch of mini games.
No, I mean it has one mini game, and then it has the campaign, which is either multiplayer or it's you with 3 other AI, or anyways, you're a Federation force that's traveling through various planets and fighting space pirates, and it I thought it looked interesting. I would enjoy playing it.
I'll
So-
give it a chance, but what you said about ODST, do remember that, from what I understand, ODST is considered the least of the Halo games.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I was about to be like, wait,
But
doesn't
it-
nobody like that one?
I didn't think it was bad. I mean, it wasn't
as
good,
bad,
but
it wasn't good.
yeah. All right, and moving on, Star Fox Zero.
That I am
It is a-
super excited about.
Beautiful game.
Oh,
Oh,
Pierre, you could actually talk about that
It's-
because it's not Nintendo, but he brings up a good point. ODST wasn't the worst. Halo Wars was the worst.
I liked what I saw of Halo Wars.
Me too, because I didn't see anything.
Halo Wars had a decent story. It had awesome music, and I've always had a soft spot for RTS. So
yeah, but the actual gameplay was bad.
that was because they put an RTS on a console.
Yeah, well,
Well, they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. That's true.
Halo
Star Fox
Wars
Zero
felt like it was
adds-
made for the PC, and then someone just stepped in and said, "No, guys, we're not making things for the PC anymore." Remember?
Tim, is this Halo time or is this Nintendo time? Get your priorities in order. So, Star Fox Zero is it looks beautiful. It has the R-Wing, and they brought back the R-Wing Walker from Star Fox 2, which nobody saw ever because it wasn't released. So yeah, you can transform from the R-Wing to the R-Wing Walker.
Which
That
That would explain why it looks so derpy compared to the other modes.
Oh yeah, because it's very similar
yeah.
to the old. Like it's
Yeah.
meant to be the same like style,
Yeah.
which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely a
also-
fan of it.
Also, the Landmaster can now transform into what looks like a gunship. And they've added a new ship, which is a hovercraft, basically. It's a hover chopper sort of a thing, and it has a little robot that you can drop and control in first person. So, it was kind of cool. They showed like one level officially. They showed 2 levels officially. One was a space battle, and the other one was a protect a citadel sort of thing. And then some of the designers came out and played some of the unreleased levels, like the ones that are not polished yet. And like they got to points and they're like, well, we can't continue. And they're like, why not? Because we haven't designed the next part of this level yet. And I love that
Yeah.
about what they're doing. And Pierre's actually going to talk a bit about that later with different games. And then moving on, the Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. It is another multiplayer Zelda game.
It's 4 swords, but not quite as good.
And apparently Pierre wasn't listening yet. It's apparently 4 swords, but it looks like people are actually going to play it.
And it's kind of sad because 4 swords was actually cool.
Yeah, do you want to know the biggest problem 4 swords had? Nobody knew anybody else who had 4 people
Yeah.
who had the,
Yeah, that was my biggest problem with 4 Swords,
It's
which
See,
I've never
like-
actually played because I never knew anyone with a Game Boy Advance who had it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Game Boy Advance, and I have 4 Swords Adventures crossover Link to the Past.
My thing was no one ever knew, it wasn't just no one ever knew anyone who had 4 swords. No one ever knew anyone who had the 4 swords and the the cord.
Yeah, the Link cable.
Yeah, no one, like, I knew, like, one person who had the link cable.
Yeah. So, but this
I
one...
had a link cable that was mainly because my brother and I would beat each other up all the time.
So, in this one, it's a 3-person instead. That was a design decision. They tested out a bunch of things, and they decided that was the best way of doing it. And you work independently, and then, like, you can solve puzzles together, and you can, like, stack on top of each other, so the person on top can, use their item, and the person on the bottom can move, and because of that, you can affect things on different heights, and I mean, it looked really good. It's also got a clothing mechanism.
Yes!
Which, it ties into the story, but I don't know how yet. I mean, I know how because I watched the thing, but it still doesn't 100% make sense.
What is it about Nintendo putting dress-up games inside its other games for no apparent reason?
I mean, why not?
It's just been
Dress-up games
happening
are fine.
in the past couple
What's wrong with dress-up
handheld
games?
franchises.
Yeah, Tim?
You got a problem with that? Are you gamist?
I don't have a problem with it. It's just a weird trend.
So, yeah. So basically, if you depending on what you wear, so you can wear like the Lucky Lounge suit. Sometimes lets you avoid hits that would have hit you. There's the Big Bomb, which makes your bombs big. There's the
well, lets you throw
Princess
bombs.
one that gives you hearts. There's the Spin one that makes you do an even bigger spin attack.
Turned you into Garen.
Yeah. And that's about it for Nintendo. I mean, they did a lot of stuff.
Dude, they had
a lot of
so many things.
really cool things that I have yet to see something from E3. I mean, I did see all of it. I spent all day watching it. But I didn't see a single thing that I was like, meh. They all seem well designed, and yeah, it's gonna be a good year for Nintendo at least. How's it gonna be for Sony, Pierre?
What?
Yeah, that was
actually
actually the answer.
Okay,
Yep.
well,
Actually, Sony's
Yep,
doing
that's
pretty
legit.
well with a lot of their exclusives. Being, should I just drop the bomb here and
I mean,
talk about the big one?
sure, go ahead.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yay?
Okay.
I suppose
I'm
it's
done.
been coming
I'm
down the
mic
track
drop.
for a while. They did 3 and 4.
Yeah, do you know how bad this is gonna be? Do you know how many people are gonna be so irritated? Because you can't do that right.
Why?
Okay, so people have been wanting a Final Fantasy VII remake for years, and a while back they actually released a still image of what it would look like.
Oh,
They were
nobody
like,
liked it?
here's what we might do, and instantly everyone was like, no, this is terrible. Because it doesn't look like the Final Fantasy VII that I remember and love. And Final Fantasy VII was not actually a good game. So, when they go back and play it, they're going to be like, oh, this is pretty, or, oh, this is terrible because I don't remember, this isn't what I remember. And then they're going to play the game and go, oh, wait, this is a crappy game.
Honestly, I heard nothing but good things about the Final Fantasy VII game. Like, I hear very few complaints about
How
it
many-
in comparison to a lot.
Tim, how many people play Final Fantasy VII have also played other games from the Final Fantasy series?
Oh,
I
can't
would
speak
say
on the rest of the
approximately
Final
all of
Fantasy
them.
series.
Okay, so it wasn't you? There was an article I was reading then. Somebody had posted it, but I guess it said 95%, and they had actually, Sony had done a study, 95% of people who played Final Fantasy VII had not played another Final Fantasy game, and still haven't.
To be fair, how many of them were good?
Well, I loved 4, 5, and 6.
I'm talking about the one past 7 though.
I mean, we're talking about games.
Yeah.
Everything past 7 is just movies.
Final Hallway Simulator 18 was awesome.
18.3, you mean?
Alright, fair enough.
15 actually looks interesting, considering that it's going to be more of an action RPG than a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, meh.
Not interested at all.
No, I'm not.
I should be I shouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I love Final Fantasy games. 1 and 2 were alright. One was better than 2. 4 was not my favorite, actually. 6 wasn't either, but 5 I still go back and play.
I can confirm.
Those are the Japanese numbers, not the American numbers.
Mhm.
Because they're stupid.
Well, then I've got No Man's Sky, which we still don't have too many details about, but they've shown us just how limitless their galaxy is turning out to be. Well, universe. Like, this is it's going to be procedurally generated worlds, but it's going to be fully explorable and fully interactable worlds from what they had shown. Still no plot or any reasoning of why you should be exploring. It's just there. So a lot of people are kind of like, well, now I need more. And it's not the kind of good need more. This is more of, I need more because I don't know anything. And I don't know if I should be interested.
I need more because you didn't give me enough at the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much. This isn't like the PT want more. This is the... what's a good example? It would be No Man's Sky is the only good example of this. But, I mean, we could talk about how Fable was kind of a letting on for more than it was, but it didn't turn out that way, but that's not what No Man's Sky is.
Yeah.
We have... let me think of one of the other subjects. There was the Horizon game, which I keep mentioning. Horizon Zero...
Was there anything about Destiny?
Oh, there was. There was the the Taken King DLC, which is going to be pretty much a kind of a almost standalone.
Okay, so they haven't
how much
announced
it's
an
adding in.
expansion yet.
Yes, this is going to be the 3rd expansion.
Okay.
Where you're going to kill the father of the thing that you killed in the 2nd expansion.
Okay.
No, first expansion.
Whatever.
My bad. Imagine you have the big baddie, and then you have
I don't care.
the daddy of the
I
big
don't
baddie.
care.
And it's terrifying.
I don't
yeah,
care.
I know you don't care. That's why I'm not going to talk any more about it.
Thank
But,
you.
I mean, after that we had... it was Horizon Zero Dawn, which was pretty much hunter-gatherers pretty much having to survive in a world that no longer wants them. In that it's now machines are the animals of the world.
Yeah.
Which is honestly pretty interesting. We have the Uncharted 4. Tim watched it at least, and what was your opinion, Tim?
I didn't get to watch all of it because we started the podcast too early, but from what I saw, it looked pretty impressive, especially the enemy AI.
Yeah, and the destructible surroundings.
Yes, that was really good too.
Yeah, like I was really impressed by that because things were just falling apart, and not like the just kind of falling apart. This was like everything was procedurally falling apart, and like it was actually like things were taking damage instead of just either the small breakdown or the complete breakdown. It was you almost felt like the world was actually there.
Yep. One thing about that, though, you had talked about how they had to restart that in the middle of the...
Yes.
Yeah, that's
yes.
what I was talking about earlier about the
Yes.
the other Nintendo thing that you weren't paying attention
Do you want to
about.
save that for the next podcast?
No. Should just talk about it now instead of being lazy.
I guess after... Okay. So pretty much, I'm going to gripe for a second. Going back to those who remember Watch Dogs' reveal 2013, if I remember correctly, was when that was shown off, and people lost their minds over how nice it looked and how it seemed to be so much more. But it wasn't when
Nope.
it came out.
Yeah.
In fact, it looked kind of average. Even it was still looked great, but it still wasn't what anyone was expecting. It was nowhere near as real as they were hoping. It would be,
Absolutely
and
not.
It was a big letdown. And then we had the case of Witcher doing kind of the same.
Yeah.
People were upset about that not looking exactly on par, but it still looked incredible, and people were content with it. But then there was other cases of games just being complete letdowns from what they were showing.
Yeah, it was the closest, but it wasn't anywhere near.
And this year I would have to say almost 90% of the gameplay of the trailers we saw during this year's E3 were gameplay demos. And that was a big change, and that was something that I am so happy to see that game developers are pushing for that again. I think if everyone remembers the reason why Nintendo stopped going to actually be there at the E3 conventions was because of how big of a mistake it was to try and do a live demo of Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
This is showing that game developers are trying again with this and pushing for gameplay demos, and because players are wanting to see what the game's actually gonna be, not what they think it's gonna be.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think anyone here would disagree with me on that. I'm really impressed with this year's presentation. I wasn't exactly pleased with how little there was. It felt like, I don't know, it just felt underwhelming.
From everyone, or from everyone not Nintendo?
Everyone and
Okay.
everyone.
I felt like there's a lot from
was-
Nintendo.
I can't speak on that subject.
No, you cannot.
Alright, so yes, Nintendo didn't put out a whole bunch comparatively to what they've done in the past. However, we knew that.
And Microsoft didn't either,
Yeah,
and
but
Sony didn't
we knew
either.
that Nintendo wasn't. I mean, Nintendo
Yeah,
went into this. We knew this like 6 months ago. When Nintendo was like, we might not go to E3 at all, and if we do, we're not even going to talk about anything like new. It's going to be stuff that we've already announced and stuff. And so we knew that they weren't going to bring out any big bombs or anything, and yet they still surprised us with far more than we expected. I mean, that what we got to see amongst like the Super Mario Maker is a very polished system. I mean, I think it's releasing in less than a month. Yeah, yes or no?
I think so. Very soon, I know that.
Pierre, yes or no?
He's not allowed to.
Damn it. Keep trying to catch him. Yeah, so, I mean, they're just, between that and just the level of quality we saw in all of their stuff, excuse me, it's just, I thought that even though there wasn't a lot of stuff shown, everything that I saw was of the best quality.
And even the other developers and makers still had big news to share with Xbox had that whole thing with the backwards compatibility and the HoloLens, which we'll have to talk about on another podcast.
Oh yeah, we missed that, but we got most of the big news.
Yeah.
If you're,
We talked games.
if you're particularly interested in anything, you can go and look that up yourself. There's all sorts of videos showing off these things, and there's lists. You can look on IGN or Game Informer or Polygon. Just about any website's gonna have a list of games or yeah. So just there's a lot of stuff to see. Personally, I'd encourage you to watch the Nintendo Digital conference sort of thing. It was hilarious. They used puppets.
That's awesome.
But
They
yeah,
weren't even
there's,
just
there's,
puppets; they were Muppets.
yes, they were Muppets. That's
Yeah,
right.
I saw like a GIF of that, and I was just like, wait, what?
Yep, I would highly suggest that. But yeah, you can always find the information directly there, and we'll get you what other information pops up through the grapevine next time. So, this has been Jonathan.
This has been Pierre.
Dominic.
And this has been Tim. Dominic
Alright.
is still Dominic, apparently.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
See ya.